Hello, dear candidates, and welcome to the GCE Maths panel online. In this particular script, we present Additional Mathematics, Paper 1, June 2020. I am Dr. Miles, your host. The first thing to do is to subscribe so that you can encourage our panel members to continue giving you what you actually need in your studies and sharing with your friends. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, to share, and to leave your comments on any issues you might find during the presentation of this video. And to have a copy of the question paper or the answer sheet, click on the link below. Let's begin. A to the power m times a to the power n equals, this particular question is on the law of multiplication of indices. And in this case, we add the power since the bases are the same. Our key is B. Log 8 base 2 equals, here we can express 8 as 2 to the power n. And that will give us 2 to the power 3. And using the laws of indices, we can further simplify as 3 log 2 base 2. And log 2 base 2 is 1. So 1 times 3 gives us 3. The key here is D. Question 3, root 72 equals, note that root 72 can be written as root 36 times root 2, the product of roots. And this gives us 6 root 2, since 36 is a perfect square. Key B. 4, the product of the roots of the quadratic equation 2x squared minus 5x plus 4 equals 0 is, here, to get the product of the roots, we must first express this quadratic in the sum product form. That is x squared minus sum of roots plus products. So we divide all through by 2, and we will have the negative sum of roots. Note, the negative sum of roots is equal to minus 5 on 2, while the product is equal to 4 on 2, which is 2. Key D. Fifth, the quadratic equation x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0 has roots alpha and beta. The value of alpha plus beta on alpha beta is, from this quadratic equation, it's already in the form x squared minus sum of roots plus product. But the minus sum of the roots is equal to plus 5. So the sum of roots is equal to minus 5, while the product is 3. Substituting this in our equation will give us alpha plus beta on alpha beta to be equal to minus 5 on 3. Key B. Please don't forget to subscribe and to share these videos with your friends to help them, especially those in remote areas. Subscribe, I repeat. Question 6. Given that ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a is not equal to 0, has equal roots where a, b, and c are real constants, then the correct statement below is, so if it has equal roots, then b squared minus 4ac should be equal to 0. It is b squared minus 4ac. And this term is the discriminant. 7, given that x plus 1 is a factor of that, find the value of k. So if x plus 1 is a factor, we equate 1 to 0 and solve for x, we will have x equals minus 1. F of that minus 1 should be equal to 0 because x plus 1 is a factor. So in this case, we have f of minus 1 to be equal to minus 1 to the power 3 minus k into minus 1 squared plus 3 into minus 1 plus 2. And when we simplify, you have minus 2 minus k. And this should be equal to 0 because x equals minus 1 is a root. So k is equal to minus 2. The key is D. Question 8. The remainder when x to the power 3 minus x squared plus 3x minus 2 is divided by x minus 1 is, So the remainder can be obtained through long division, but I advise to use the shortest method, which is equate x minus 1 to 0, solve for x, which gives you x equals 1, and look for f of 1. So the remainder is given by f of 1, and that f of 1 will give us 1. So our key is D. Question 9, the nth term of a series is given by Tn equals that. Find the fourth term. For us to find the fourth term, we just need to substitute the values of n by 4, and that will give us minus 3 as the fourth term. The key here is B. Question 9, that's question 9. Question 10, the geometric mean of 2 and 8 is, the geometric mean of two numbers is the square root of their products. This gives us 2 times 8. The square root of that gives us 4. The key here is B. Question 11. The fifth term of the sequence, that is, so we can actually just continue to get the next terms. If you look very well, see that they've divided by 3 to have 3, and divided by 3 to have 1. So you divide by 3, you have 1/3. Divide by 3 again, you have 1 all over 9. So that fifth term is 1 over 9, or you can use the formula T5 is equal to 9 into 1 over 3 to the power 5 minus 1, and that still gives you the same answer, C. Question 12, the sum to infinity of a geometric progression with first term A and common ratio R, where the absolute value of R is strictly less than 1 is. So note that the sum to infinity, if the absolute value of R is greater than 1, will be infinity. But if the absolute value is less than 1, then the sum to infinity is given by A over 1 minus R. A over 1 minus R, that is D. 13, the first three terms of the binomial expansion, 1 minus 2x to the power 6 is equal to, so the binomial expansion is written or given by the summation of n combination k, a to the power n minus 1, b to the power n. So we write it like this. So let's just go with shortcut. You have the first term to the power 6 times, that's plus 6, the power that is there 6, into the first term, which is 1, this first element of this bracket, 1 to the power 5, times the second one, minus 2 to the power 1. But since you're supposed to give up to the third term, so the next one will be now 6, this power, times the power minus 1, 5, into this term here, 1 to the power 4, times the second term now to the power 2. So this, the powers here are adding, the ones here are reducing. But note that I have to divide by 2, because this first one is over 0 factorial, this one is over 1 factorial, this next one is over 2 factorial. And this is where many students will forget to put the over 2 factorial. So this gives us 1 minus 2x plus 60x squared. The key here is A. So please don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and leave your comments on what you think we can do or modify. Leave your comments, very important, and subscribe. 14, the coefficient of x squared in the binomial expansion 1 minus x to the power 5 is, for this coefficient, you may decide to expand, or you may just get it directly using combinations. So in this case, expanding, we will have 1 to the power 5 plus 5, just like the previous expansion, and you will have 1 minus 5x plus 10x squared. And the coefficient of x squared here is 10. But we know that this second, this term containing x to the power 2 can be 5 combination 2. So you can use that shortcut, and we will still have the solution as 10. Our key here is A. The next question reads, the number of ways in which the letters of the word bees, B-E-S, can be arranged is, so we note that there are 2 E's. So, and since they're talking about permutations, we are going to divide just by the number of letters, the factorial of the number of letters that occurs. So this will give us, how many letters are there? 4 divided by 2 factorial. Note, this is a permutation. So I'm not multiplying again by 4 minus 2 factorial. It's a permutation, not a combination. The key here is D. 16, 7 combination 3 equals, so that's 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial on 4 factorial times 3 factorial, as you already know. And that gives us 35 ways, as I've explained below here. That key is C. 17, the trigonometric ratio which is positive in the fourth quadrant is, now on the Cartesian or XY plane, we have 4 quadrants. In the first quadrant, everything is positive. And there is a mnemonic for that. All silly Tom's cats. All silly Tom's cats. I remember my teacher in the secondary school days, she always comes and sings this. It's a lady, a highly recognized one, and an examiner, my colleague for now. Very proud of her. All right, so this gives us, let me not tell you my life story. So in the first quadrant, everything is positive. In the second quadrant, sine is positive. The third quadrant, just tan is positive. And in the fourth quadrant, cot is positive. So which of them is positive in this fourth quadrant? We have cot, key D. 18, sine 2x is equal to or identical to, you can use sine theta plus theta, and when you expand, you have 2 sine theta cos theta, and that is what we have. The key here is C. 19, the value of theta in that interval for which cos theta equals to 3 on 2 is, I know that you know this one, even if they come and wake you up in your sleep. So cos inverse of root 3 on 2 is 30 degrees. You know that sine inverse of a half is 32. So sine theta equals half is that. We are concerned with cos here. So this is 30 degrees. Question 20. The length of the minor arc of a circle of radius 6 centimeters, which subtends an angle of pi on 3 at the center is, here the angles are given in radians. And how do we get the arc length? Note that the minor arc is the smaller one. Normally, the area, the arc length of the smaller arc is given by 2 pi radius times the angle, that is theta, on 360 degrees, but in this case on 2 pi. So we have 2 pi radius times theta on 2 pi, where theta is pi on 3. And when we simplify, we have 2 pi. Our key here is A. 21. If the video is too fast, please just move to the YouTube sub icon on the bottom right of your phone and reduce the speed to 0.75. In that case, I'll be speaking at the pace which is better for you. But just to catch up with financial constraints, you just always complain of data. We try to talk a bit fast. Thanks for your understanding. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video. So cos 90 degrees plus theta is identical to, you can decide to expand, and when you expand, you will have cos 90 cos theta minus sin 90 sin theta. But cos 90 is 0 and sin 90 is 1. So that leaves us minus sin theta, and the key here is B. 22, find P squared, not P squared in Nigeria, note. So the side you are looking for here is this side, and from the cosine rule, this side squared should be equal to the sum of squares of these other two sides minus 2QR cos this angle opposite to this value. So this is giving us P squared equals Q squared plus R squared minus 2QR cos P. Question 23 reads, the coordinates of the midpoint joining the points 3, -5, and -5, 3 is, to get the coordinates of the midpoint, we take the average of the x values and then the average of the y values. And that gives us 3 plus -5 on 2, comma, -5 plus 3 on 2, -1, -1. A. 24, the tangents of the acute angle between the lines y equals 2x and the positive x-axis is, so this is a sketch of it. So between this line and this positive x-axis, we have that. But the line is already in the form y equals mx plus c, where c is 0 and m is greater than or equal to 2. So the tangent here is 2. Or you can say y over x is equal to 2, and that still gives you your tan A or tan theta. Key here is B. 25, the equation of the straight line with gradient -2 passing through the point 1, 2 is, we recall that for a straight line, we can obtain the equation by y equals m into x1 minus into x minus x1 plus y1. And when we put in these values, our line will be 2x plus y minus 4 equals 0. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, especially those in remote areas. Immediately after this paper, we have paper 2. So don't forget to subscribe so that you'll be notified immediately the paper is uploaded. So when you subscribe, don't forget to click on the notification so that anytime we upload any video, you are automatically notified. Equally, additional math complete tutorial page is being prepared and will be ready in no time. So you can start checking for a complete additional math tutorial for GCE for any year. 26, the value of m for which the lines y equals 3x plus 5 and that are perpendicular is, so two lines are perpendicular if the product of their gradients equals -1. That is tan A times tan B should be equal to -1. And here we have the gradient of the first line is 3, that of the second is m. So if this product is equal to -1, then m equals -1/3. Key is D. 27, the range of values of x for which -3 is less than 2x minus 5 and less than or equal to 3 is, so we just solve normally, we subtract, they have subtracted 5 all through, so we add 5 all through. We have -3 plus 5 to be less than 2x, less than or equal to 3 plus 5, and at the end, we'll have 1 to be less than x, less than or equal to 4, and the key here is D. 28, the set of values of x for which that is less than 0 each. So the boundary solutions here are x equals -3 and x equals a half. So we can plot this on the normal line and then we do testing. So on this number line, we have -3 and we have a half. So we have 3 regions, the region below -3, the region between -3 and a half, and the region above. Let's start by testing this middle region, if it's positive or negative. So let's take a value like 0. 0 is easy and fast. So we put into this equation. So 0 plus 3 is 3, and 2 times 0 minus 1 is -1. 3 times -1 is -3, which is less than 0. It satisfies the equation. Therefore, this region satisfies the inequality. The inequality is satisfied by this region. Therefore, the solution set is -3 less than x less than or equal to a half. And our key here is C. Question 29, the values of x for which 2x minus 3 absolute is equal to 5. So to solve these absolute equations, you have 2x minus 3 should be equal to 5, or 2x minus 3 should be equal to -5. And when we solve those two equations, we have x equals 4 or x equals -1. Our key here is A. 30, Enanga went to a store and bought X pens at 50 francs each and Y rulers at 100 francs each. Given that the maximum amount of money she spent was 1,000 francs, the inequality satisfying her expenditure is, so she spent not more than 1,000 francs. So the highest amount she spent was 1,000 francs, meaning the inequality here is less than or equal to 1,000 francs. And 1 pen is 50 francs. So she bought 50 times x, and for rulers 100 times y. When you divide all through by 50, that's the inequality that we'll be left with. D. 31, the inequalities that satisfy the statements x is that x is at least half of y. Let us start with this one. X is at least half of y. What does this mean? At least means that the smallest is a half of y, so it can be more than y. It can be 1y, 2y, 3y, 10, 1,000y. So at least half of y means greater than or equal to a half y. And second, they say y is at most 1/3 x. At most means that the highest. At most, so that inequality is less than or equal to, because it's the highest. So y should be less than or equal to 1/3 x. And when we simplify, we have those two. So our key here is A. Our key here is A. 32. The functions f and g are defined as f of x equals that and g of x equals that. Then define in a similar manner g of x of f. So g of f will be equal to g of x plus a half, and we know that g is 2x minus 3, so we replace that x by the by the f of x function, and when we simplify, that is what we have. 33. The function f is defined by f of x equals that x squared if x is strictly greater than 0 and is equal to minus x if x is less than or equal to 0. Find the value of f of minus 3. So the question is minus 3. Is minus 3 greater than 0 or it is less than or equal to 0? So we start minus 3 is in this interval. It is less than or equal to 0. Since it's less than or equal to 0, we take this function of minus x. So in our solution, we now have minus times or minus into minus 3, and that gives us plus 3. So our key here is A. Our key here is A. Note the key here is actually A, not C. Our key here is A. Our key here is A. 33. The key is A. Question 34. The inverse of that function is so the inverse of this function, we say let y be equal to that function, and then we solve x. So y is equal to 1 minus 2x on 3. And when we solve x, we will have x to be equal to 1 minus 3y on 2. So the inverse of the function should be equal to 1 minus 3x on 2, where we have replaced x by f inverse of x and replace y by x. I've written the function also in the same manner. The question was given in mapping form. My answer is in mapping form. This one is important for paper 2. 35. The transformation T defined as T is such that xy is mapped onto 4x, 2x minus y is represented by the matrix. Here we can quote the transformation directly. The transformation is a 2 by 2 matrix. So for this first value, 4x, we have, for the first row, we have the x value is 4. There is no y value. So we have 4, 0, 4, 0. Then the y, for the second row, we have 2 minus 1. The coefficient of these elements here gives us the matrix. So we have that 4, 0, 2 minus 1. Or you can decide to write it in this form, then you look for A, B, C, and D. But this one will waste time. It's better to just quote directly and you have your key as D. We are looking for the shortest methods, don't forget. Please don't forget to subscribe, and you can visit our blog, www.gcemathspanel.blogspot.com. Here, you will find our lessons on a complete preparation for GCE. You equally find complete preparation for GCE advanced level. We are working on additional maths as well and on further maths. You equally find past papers on all subjects, not just maths, and equally for technical. You will see series in high school. You see our awards page and our quizzes that we write. You equally see the media which we are using and Facebook, which are equally using to communicate with students and our different WhatsApp groups. Question 36. The image of the point minus 3, 2 under the transformation T defined by the matrix that is, so the image of this point to be given by, know that you pre-multiply that point by the transformation matrix, which is 1, 1, 2, minus 1, and the image will give us minus 1, minus 8. Our key here is D. Question 37, the invariance line under the transformation T defined by that matrix is, the invariance line is the line that is mapped onto itself. So P is mapped onto itself. It can be written like this. So when we solve, we have x plus y equals 0. That's the equation of the invariant line. You can equally use the second equation, that is 1 times x plus 2y equals y to verify. So that the equations are the same. So that gives us the equation of the invariant line. Our key here is A. Question 38, the binary operation star is defined over the set of real numbers as that. Find the value of 2 star 3. Here we just substitute directly, and that will give us 8. Our key here is C. Question 39, we have the inverse of 3 under this operation is, with this, the first thing is to look for the identity elements, and we look for that. We start by looking at this row where it has been copied exactly. So we see that this is here, the same thing. Then for this column, we see where we are going to see if it has been copied directly again. Here we see. So where these two lines intersect, the point of intersection here gives us the identity element. So identity element in this operation is 1. Now, how do you get the inverse of 3? Any element star its inverse will give us the identity element. So 3 star, which number will give us 1? It is 3 star 3. So the inverse of 3 here is 1. The inverse of 3 here is 3. Sorry. 3 is self inverse. 3 is self inverse. Question 40. Given that operation and 2, 4, 6, 8 forms a group under star, which of the following is not a subgroup? So for us to get the subgroup, let us first of all look for the identity elements. What's the identity elements here? So let's look. We see this line. It has been copied. Which other one again? This one, it has been copied. So identity element here is 6. It is 6. So for us to have a subgroup, the identity element should be in that group. And any number star, that identity element should have an answer in that group. So let us see. So here we have the first group, 2 star 6 is equal to 2. 2 star 6 is equal to 2. So this answer is in this first subgroup. Then 4 star 6 is equal to 4. It's also in this second subgroup. The element is in this second subgroup. The third subgroup, we have 2 star 6, 2 star 4 rather. What is 2 star 4 here? 2 star 4 is equal to 8. The element is not in this group. Therefore, this group cannot be a subgroup because the identity element is not there, and in fact, the result of the operation is not found in this set. So it cannot be a subgroup. And the last one equally is there. So the wrong one here is C. Question 41. The direction of the vector equation of the line that is. So for us to get the direction vector is this one, where you have lambda. The value after lambda is the direction vector. Now, another trick that we can use as examiners is we can take the negative of this. We take the direction vector will still be the same thing. You take the negative of it, it will still be the direction vector. So don't fall in that trap. So the direction vector can either be I plus 3j's or minus I minus 3j's. It will be the same thing. Depending on the value of lambda, can be positive or negative, right? Yeah. All right. So this is what you have. So that's the direction vector. And question number 42. The unit vector in the direction of minus 4i plus 3j is. So a unit vector in the direction of that is. The unit vector is given by a vector over its modulus or magnitude. So that gives us minus 4 on 5i plus 3 on 5j's. You know that the modulus of 4i plus 3j is 5, right? So our key here is B. All right, question number 43. A dot B is equal to absolute A, that's mark A, mark B cos theta, as you already know. And this is just a statement that you know in class, right? Question 44. The vector equation of the line joining the 2 points with position vectors A and B is. So this vector equation is given by A plus lambda into B minus A. Note, when you start with A here, you must end with A here. If you decide to use B, then B should be what should be here. This one is just some sort of a shortcut, so you don't forget. So that's what we have. Please, if this video is too fast, go to the bottom right of your YouTube, click on the speed and change it to 0.75 so that you get me at your pace. You can even reduce to 0.5 so you can get me as slow as possible. We are doing it as fast as possible so that you don't have issues with data. You might be listening and you run out of data. As students have been complaining. So we are trying to avoid such scenes. Don't forget to visit our blog, www.gcemathspanel.blogspot.com. We have everything you need there to prepare you for GCE, as well as a physics page that has just joined us. 45, the derivative of 3x squared is, so you bring down the power 2 times that constant there, 3 times x to the power 2 minus 1. That gives us 6x. Our key here is B. 46, derivative of sine 2x is, the first thing is when you differentiate sine 2x, what do you have? You have cos 2x. So you know that our answer is going to be positive. So it cannot be A and cannot be D. Now, when you, to differentiate this thing completely, you have to first of all differentiate the core. The core here is 2x. When you differentiate 2x, you have 2. Then times the derivative of now this function of sine 2x, which is cos 2x. That gives us 2 cos 2x. 47. The gradient of the curve y equals cos x at the point x equals 0 is, so we first of all start by looking for dy dx. And when you differentiate cos x, what does it give us? Negative sine x. And if x is equal to 0 at that gradient, like it's written here, sine 0 is 0. So our answer is 0. A. 48. The integral of 2x to the power 3 is, so to integrate, write the function normal as it is, add 1 to the power and divide all through by that power plus 1. So that gives us 2x to the power 4, all that on 4. Where this 4 here is 3 plus 1, all over 3 plus 1. That gives us a half x to the power 4 plus k, where k is an element of r, or the constant of integration. 49. The integral of sine 3x dx is, so just look at the shortcut. When you integrate sine x, what do you have? When you differentiate sine x, you have cos x. So when you integrate it, you have negative cos x. So we already know that our answer is going to be negative cos. And since we have sine 3x, it should be cos 3x. But now when you're integrating, you are taking the 1 over the derivative of this one here. When you differentiate 3x, you have 3, right? So it's 1 over 3, knowing that it's negative. When you integrate, so minus 1 on 3 into cos 3x plus a constant of integration. And the last question, but not the least, don't forget that immediately after this, we have paper 2. Paper 2, don't forget to subscribe and click on these notifications. These are what notifications that you see here. So that immediately you upload the paper, you also get the notifications in your phone directly that paper has been uploaded for all the papers. But that can only happen if you subscribe and click on notifications. So question 15, we have the area of the shaded region bounded by the curve y equals x squared in the range that is. So area is given by, you integrate first, right? The integral of this function from 0 to 2 of x squared dx, and that gives us x to the power 3 on 3. And when you apply these limits, these bounds, you have 2 to the power 3, which is 8 on 3, minus 0 to the power 3 on 3. That gives us 8 on 3, and the key here is A. Thank you guys so much for viewing, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the notifications. This video is in loving memory of Papa Christopher Fobugwe, who died on the 10th of January 2019. Thank you so much. Stay tuned, and this is proudly sponsored also by Dr. Sticky Music. Bye-bye.